Board members, if we can get you to take your seats, we will, and staff, we're going to get started. Want to welcome everyone to Utah State Board of Education board meeting today. Safety and all of that. We have our restrooms just right outside these doors here. Exits, you go out these doors and you can go north or south and you're out of the building. So with that, we will just get right to our opening business. First on our agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have board member Mark Marsh lead us in that. Our flag has been moved over here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation.
Thank you. Next, we'll have our board member message from board member Scott Nielsen. Are you ready?
I am almost.
Okay, let's. Not recognizing.
How about now?
They're calling you the AAG table, so, but I know it's you.
The AAG table? I'll give me some credibility here.
There you go.
Okay.
And you moved from that attorney side over on this side, I noticed.
Well, you know.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here today, and I hope that those few of you that are in here are as well. Just in thinking about, I teach high school, and I went on an active duty military order for a year, so I haven't been in the classroom since April, and it's been quite a change for me. And I haven't enjoyed it as much as I do as being in the classroom and with rambunctious kids and things happening. But I'm very grateful to be involved in this endeavor. I want you to think really quickly. I've just written a few thoughts down about when I look at these children. I think about the American birthright. I think about this nation where there's more freedom and opportunity here than there is anywhere else. And I've seen the world. I've been in many places, been to Europe, been to Asia, been to the Middle East. And this is a marvelous place. We have work to do, but it is, in my mind, it is the most marvelous place. And if we are to maintain this great republic of ours, our public education system must be strong, and it must stay strong. So I want to read a quote by George Washington. Because I think in some instances, not in many, but in some instances with what we're seeing in society today, we need to do better. We need to do better in educating our students, especially in understanding how our own government should function. So George Washington said this. He said, "A primary object should be the education of our youth in the science of government. In a republic, what species of knowledge can be equally important? And what duty more pressing than communicating it to those who are to be the future guardians of the liberties of the country?" So that's very strong words from the first president of the United States. And I feel that public education has a primary duty and role in helping our young people understand not only their birthright as American citizens, but if they are to be successful, that this is the land of opportunity, that there's more freedom here than there is anywhere. But if they're to maintain that, they need to understand how it works, how it functions, and what their specific rights are, and what the right, more especially what the rights of others are. What are the rights of others to say and do as they please? And we're entering an era of political dialogue where some don't believe you should be able to say and do as you please. And that's very dangerous thinking. We need to, in my mind, move away from that to where people understand, hey, your right and birthright as a citizen is freedom of religion, freedom of communication, as long as it's appropriate in some ways. But I want to reiterate that, and as we sit here today and go over the things that we do as a board, that we realize what's at stake here and our roles and responsibilities, because they are tremendous. We owe it to the children of this state to do the very best for them that we can, and to protect the Constitution of the United States and their rights as young citizens who will one day, when I look at these young people who will be running the country. And you can say what you want about millennials, but I'm very, very, very optimistic, despite what you may hear in the news, very optimistic about where we are and where we're going to be, because I feel like this rising generation is a marvelous one, and I'm grateful to be here, and that's my message.
Thank you, Board Member Scott Nielsen, and thank you for your service. Just maybe a little bit of information along that that I might share with you on his service. I'm the State Ombudsman Director with the Department of Defense in one of my other roles, and I handle some mediation, and so I deal with a lot of facts. And a fact I'd like to share with you is the U.S. military strength, 49 point something percent of it is our Guard and Reserves. And if I might ask, that's 49 point something, that's almost half. They're citizen soldiers, so I appreciate their services. Do we have any reserve? Would you guys stand up and be recognized, all of our reserves that are part of what I just mentioned? Thank you for your service. I could do a big presentation, but I won't on that, but so thank you. Next, we will have employee recognition, Superintendent Dixon.
Morning, board members and public, the thousands out there listening online. I am really excited to introduce our Employee of the Month to you. Tim Davis has been a longtime employee, but not that long. How long, Tim?
Just reached 19 years.
19 years.
Five
So he's
here.
just a kid. So Tim is in our IT department and right now responsible for Cactus. And you know that we're rewriting Cactus and it's sort of a prickly job, but he's all in, like he is leaning in to make this be the best system that it can be. And that's just one of his many duties. The reason that he's been honored as Employee of the Month, Tim has been our Employee Action Committee chair for a couple of years. And when Tim first came to me in this role, he really wanted to make a difference in morale in this agency. And it was sort of at a time when we were trying to figure out who we were as an agency, whether we were compliance or service-oriented, and it was sort of in that dip of just reframing under a new board and thinking about what our role was like. And Tim was really instrumental in delivering messages from our employees in a way that were really forward-thinking and trying to be actionable rather than just saying, well, that bathroom's out of date. Or So we started to have some activities that were very engaging, and people started coming out of their cubicles and engaging with one another. And his leadership was just so intentional about changing morale in this agency. And we are so grateful to Tim for his 2-year service in this role and for the changes that were made under his direction. So we're really proud of Tim. As you know, he gets 8 hours of admin leave time, and we've challenged him to try and take that and find time to do that. Coveted parking space, which we've switched so that it's front and it's closest to the building. It's no longer against the wall, but nobody should park there except Tim this month. So just we want to show appreciation to Tim with a round of applause and thank him for his great service. You don't have to give a speech unless you'd like to.
Nope. Thank you all.
So now you know that we hire only the best. We've got, I think we're 5 new employees. Maybe somebody's not here. We had 4 here today. Remember that we had a really heavy lift in August and September as that school year kind of ebbs and flows, and that's our transition time. So now we have 6 new employees and 4 here to introduce themselves. So if you'll come to the mic and state your name and the role that you're serving here, and maybe where you came from as well.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Oldroyd. I am working as an executive secretary in the Safe and Healthy Schools Department. And for the last 5.5 years, I was working in the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation as executive secretary to the project director of the Aspire research study. That was one of the grants awarded under the Promise Initiative from the U.S. Department of Education. Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Lyman. I work in student data privacy. I'm a data consultant and records manager, and I spent the last 16 years with Salt Lake City Corporation running the Youth City After School and Summer program in Liberty Park. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Lara Hathaway. I am the office specialist for the STEM program for science and art. This is my third go with state government. From 2001 to 2010, I was the general information operator for state government, and concurrent with that, I was the receptionist for Department of Technology Services. Then from 2014 to 2017, I was the executive secretary for the training and adjustment services at the Division of Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lacey Ott. I work in Child Nutrition Services. I am a food distribution specialist. I worked 4 years at Intermountain Healthcare, one with food and nutrition, and then ended with accredited medical education. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining USBE. Next, we'd like to invite Kathy Jensen, our educational specialist, to handle our acknowledgement of student artwork.
Thank you, Chair Huntsman, and good morning, Board. Before I introduce the art, I would just like to let you know that I have seen the boxes. The art hanging system is in the building and should be installed within the next few weeks. So we're happy to announce that. This month's art comes from our partners at Weber State University, who oversee the Beverly Taylor Sorensen for the schools in their region. And the art on the on the east side is from Syracuse Arts Academy, the North Campus, and you see charcoal apples under the direction of specialist Elisa Gardner. The students learned about shading, and they learned about referent light, and they learned some important artistic techniques as they worked on the detail of their charcoal apples. On the west wall, from North Ogden Elementary School in the Weber School District, fourth graders learned about the Aurora Borealis, and they have done chalk and landscape of the northern lights under the direction of Elisa Webb. Thank you.
Thank you. We always enjoy our art, kind of a fun part of our board meeting. Next, we'll want to invite Ricky Scott, our science education specialist, to introduce our education highlight.
Good morning, board members. Ricky Scott, science specialist here in teaching and learning. It is my privilege, as well as working with Jolie Honey, who'll be here in a second, I think she's just waiting, to introduce to you the finalists for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching for the state of Utah. These are some outstanding mathematics and science teachers this year from the secondary area of education that have done some amazing work in their classroom. In order to be a finalist, there's a very hefty application, there's a video process, there's a very large narrative they have to do. And through all of this, we select up to 3 in mathematics and 3 in science. These finalists that we'll introduce to you today will be sent to the national level to be reviewed by teachers and leaders from all over the place. And eventually, hopefully within the next year or so, they will announce of these finalists 1 mathematics and 1 science winner or awardee for the state of Utah, probably in the next year or so. So it's my privilege. I'm going to introduce to you the science people. give them each a chance to introduce themselves to you and talk to you for a bit, since I know that's probably really what you want to hear. And then we'll turn the time over to Jolie to speak with the math, or have you speak with the math people. So the science people with us today are Skipper Coates from the Alpine School District, and David Morrill from Jordan High School in the Canyon School District. So we're going to give time to Skipper and then to David, and then we'll go there.
You'll have to excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. Thanks for taking just a minute to listen to a couple teachers. The PAIMS program and the PAIMS award has been probably the best professional development that I have ever had. You don't get a lot of opportunities to film a lesson and then send it to the state level and get feedback from science specialists and science professors at different universities, and to know if you're on the right track. So I just appreciate what the program has done for me and the growth that it's given me. And then if I could say one other thing to all of you, it is my dying wish that we could give earth science the same prestige and sway that we've been given the other sciences. I'm a product of Utah education. I graduated with zero knowledge on earth science. Everything I learned, I had to teach myself. And I think that's a bit of a shame. I would love to see us change the culture and to encourage more students to learn more about stewardship and how to take care of the planet.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here as well. I'm Dave Morrill from Jordan High School down in the south end of the valley. Last year, my principal wanted to nominate me for this award and to help bring recognition to the great teachers and students of Jordan High School. Every year I get to associate with some of the best and the brightest students in the state of Utah. I teach physics, and it's something that I absolutely love to do. This one has been a challenge for me, as I am reluctant to seek personal recognition for my teaching. A quote from an unknown author that has guided me over my last 30-plus years of teaching says, "No written word nor spoken plea can teach our youth what they may be, nor all the books on all the shelves. It's what the teachers are themselves." Teaching is an art with successes and failures, and I'm no exemption to any of these. My teaching career has been one long experiment in how to best teach physics to countless classes of teenagers. My presentations vary from hour to hour. They're constantly changing. But in all of this, my students have never, ever questioned the love that I have for teaching physics and the love that I have for teaching them. I think it's important to recognize I do not stand here alone. This celebration of excellence really is a celebration of the great teachers and staff and administration at Jordan High School. And there have been countless teachers whose shoulders I stand upon, people who have influenced me tremendously. And I recognize them and hope that now perhaps is my turn to have others stand on my shoulders. Thank you.
Thank you again so much for having the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Math and Science teachers here with you this morning. This really is the most prestigious award that a mathematics or science teacher can receive, and I really appreciated how Darryl was just talking about how it's hard when you're so humble as a teacher to come and to be before you, but I'm very, very excited to also introduce to you the three finalists for mathematics, and they will each come up. First, we're going to have Don Barson from Juab High School, and then we will have Nikki Mendenhall from Salem Junior High School and Nebo School District.
By the way, Dawn is Juab High School in Juab School District. And then Nikki from Salem in Nebo School District. And then we will follow up with Natalie Darrington, who is at Juab Junior High School in Juab School District. So thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to be a finalist for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. I also wanted to talk about the application process, the opportunity to videotape my classroom and then examine my video for evidences of student learning and evidences where students weren't learning were important in improving my own practice and being able to write in my paper about during those times when students weren't learning, what did I learn and what might I be able to implement or change later. And I wanted to talk today just for a few minutes about my love of teaching and wanting students to learn and understand mathematics, and that my progress and improvement as a teacher is due to the state of Utah and the programs that they provide to help teachers and support them in reflecting about their practice and learning how to improve their practice so that they can in turn improve student learning in their classrooms. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am really just humbled to be here. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to just talk about what it means to me to be a finalist in PAMES, because you just don't think you're ever going to do something like this. And so I just would like to share my journey as a teacher. I started teaching about 10 years ago, and when I became a math teacher, I believed that the way that my students taught the way that my students learned would be if I could explain it well enough, or if I could explain it in different ways, then they would understand the content. And as more years went by, I started to change the way that I thought about what it meant to learn and teach mathematics. And that started when I began my teaching career in Nebo School District in 2012. I started attending a professional development, and it was known as CMI, Comprehensive Mathematics Instruction. And as I attended this professional development every other Monday for 3 years, I started to realize that learning and teaching mathematics was not about my explanations. It was about my students making sense for themselves. And so I started to teach to that end. I also, in teaching, learned about the power of growth mindset, as coined by Carol Dweck, who is an amazing researcher. And I started to teach that to my students, that making mistakes was a good thing, and that was part of learning. It was expected in learning, and that anybody could learn mathematics with effort. And as I started teaching this to my students, I came to realize that teachers also need to have this growth mindset. We also need to know that making mistakes is okay, and that feedback is a good thing, and that it helps us improve our practice. And when I made that switch of mindset, I also began to see that it was not an easy road. I experienced a lot of vulnerability, and I experienced a lot of feedback that was hard, and also some rebellion from my students, because they're not used to having to try and make sense of things for themselves. And we pushed through it together. And so being a PAMES finalist has been just a witness to me that my efforts have not been in vain, and that anybody can improve. And actually, that's the mindset that all teachers need to have, is that they can always improve and always grow and change. And I will continue to do that, because there's always ways that we can improve our teaching and our practice. So thank you very much.
I think we have one more.
I too am honored and humbled to be here today. I feel like maybe I shouldn't deserve this award. I feel like my students deserve this award. When I tell people what I do, I say I'm a middle school math teacher, they say, oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart, I can't believe that you do that every day. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I get to work with the best people ever, not only the students, but the adults in my building who honor the whole child, who honor teaching and learning. And in my classroom, I don't even want to say it's my classroom because it belongs to all of us there. But when we're in that classroom, I'm not the teacher. I'm not the teacher in there. There's more power in the students learning from themselves and from each other and being just a facilitator of learning and being a facilitator of growth. And students recognizing that they have ownership of their learning, they have ownership of their education, and it will take them places. And also recognizing that I don't teach math, I teach children. I view math as a vehicle for students to develop skills such as problem solving and creative thinking and communication, being able to collaborate, and all of these skills. Like sometimes some of the math that we learn in class is something, we get this question that says, they say, when am I ever going to use this in real life? And you have to be honest and say, you may not. Right? You might not. But the opportunity to develop these other skills through this vehicle of mathematics is what's important. To be able to be creative and be problem solvers and be part of your own education and take that ownership. And so I feel like I'm honored and humbled by this recognition, but I wouldn't be here without the students that I work with and without a school district, this GUAB school district that honors teachers in their mission to develop children, help them develop as a whole and not just within our content area. So I appreciate the recognition and thank you.
Thank you. Board members, is there more? You still have more on your presentation?
No, I just wanted to say that we would love if you had questions or anything, so.
Okay. Board members, any questions or comments? Well, the board members think this is really exciting. Oh, here we go. Board member Cindy Davis.
Just thank you. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your passion, your energy. Thank you for serving our students in our state, in our classrooms. We appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. And that's what I was going to say. Thank you for what you do. Recognition is really important. I know that you're not seeking it, but you are representing not only your school, but the rest of the teachers in this state. And I applaud you for the work that you've done and the due diligence to, it's kind of like an application process that is very awkward for many of you. It's like, how do I make myself look good and how do I share the good things that I'm doing? And I know that's very, very difficult for you, but thank you for all your efforts there, and we're looking forward to many wonderful things for you guys in the future, and so thank you for your service. Is there any other comment or questions? Okay, Board Member Scott Nielsen.
Thank you. I heard someone from Salem. Who was that from Salem?
Back in the corner.
Excellent. Is that Salem Junior High? With Mr. Knutson?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, I just wanted to verify that. Excellent. He was as an assistant principal at Maple Mountain High School, where I teach, and now he's a principal at Salem Junior, and that's fantastic. But it's even more fantastic to see you up here waving that flag. So, thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions or comments, so thank you for what you're doing, and you're welcome to stick around if you want, but I know you won't. Okay, want to invite you guys all out to the hall here for a quick picture, and I'm going to turn this over, the public participation piece, to Vice Chair Brittany Cummins to handle. How many minutes we're looking? What? 3 minutes, so we're going to get up to 3. Thank you.